Welcome back to this week's Midweek Brunch. Now it's time to meet my very special guest. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we had Trish on from Llanelli Art Society, and that led me to meet this lady I've got in the studio with me today, Minty from Brookwood Cottage Studio. Morning, Minty.
Morning, hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
We've been in the studio for about half an hour and I've been showing you how it works, and you're going to give it a go now, aren't you?
Yes.
So, Minty, I did see your work in the exhibition that we had in the library.
That's right,
a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm very impressed because your art is slightly different, isn't it?
Yes, it is a bit unusual.
Normal.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the type of art that you do.
So I'm a felt artist and I create my paintings from wool, sheep's wool, and I add in things like silk and different sorts of fibres, bits of yarn and cotton and different things to create texture.
So we were saying about this earlier, it's very tactile, pictures, aren't they? They look, you want to touch them.
Yeah.
So tell me then, were you a creative child? You know, were you at the age of 3 with painted hands all over the wall and scribbling pictures? Were you talented from a very young age?
I was always told that I was really good at art from a very young age, but I enjoyed using fuzzy felt to create pictures, which is really funny.
I remember
when I was 5 I had my 5th birthday party. I had literally 3 fuzzy felt packs given to me for my birthday, and I was obsessed. I stuck the boards on the wall and I was changing the pictures every day. I also like to use spirograph to create pictures as well. We weren't allowed paints in the house, so I didn't have anything like paints or Play-Doh. And I used to go to my Gramps' house to use his paints because he allowed me to use his paints. All my grandparents were artists, and as in their hobby time, they would paint, 3 of them. So I had that influence.
Wonderful. Oh, I remember fuzzy felt. Do they do that these days? Is it still
I think
around?
it still goes, but it's kind of printed felt rather than we have to just cut out bits of felt, weren't they?
You could stretch them with a very long legs and very long arms.
I loved it.
So you started off painting as in kids would normally do, so watercolours, bit of water, splash it on some paper and away to go.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to use paints in the house, so the painting came a lot later when I was a bit older and I went to school and doing O-level art and stuff like that, trying out all the paints. But as a really young child, I didn't do anything like that, so yeah.
Wow, an untapped talent there.
Yeah, but I always wanted to be an artist, and I used to say to my dad, I want to do art, and he said, you're never going to make a living out of art, you don't want to do art, you're too clever for that. And
go
they
and be
kind
a
of
doctor.
pushed me. They pushed me to do something like they wanted me to be a vet because I loved animals, and they wanted me to go and be a vet or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll never make money out of art.
Yeah.
You're saying there you love animals. A lot of your compositions involve animals, don't they?
Yeah. I love to have pictures of things that you don't normally see, like you wouldn't see a badger or a fox normally, or a hare even. It's quite rare to see things like kingfishers, you know. So having making a painting of those animals, so you can have it there to look at, is kind of where I'm at. I've always loved animals. I had this picture on the wall when I was a child it was called Woodland Traffic, and it was by Molly Brett, and I loved that painting so much. It got kind of damaged a bit later on in life, so I bought another one really big, so I've got that now, the same picture, and I think I was really influenced by that.
Yeah.
And Margaret Tempest, who illustrated The Little Grey Rabbit, and I've got all that. I've got a little collection of those books. So I've always loved animals.
Yeah, I know on your Facebook page you've got a beautiful picture. There's a kingfisher, and he is the most iridescent blue in the middle of all this kind of woody scene. Oh, it's a
Is that the one I've done recently?
Yes,
There's another one I did of a kingfisher that I sold in July. But yeah, the most recent one. Kingfishers are really, really beautiful colours, and often you'll just see a flash of blue, and you won't actually see the kingfisher. But my husband's a photographer, and we went down to the wetland centre in Llanelli, and in the bird hides there, you've got the kingfishers just sit on the branches, and there was one there one day, and he was literally he's being photographed, and he's just turning and showing us his lovely colours.
Pausing.
Pausing. So a lot of my work comes from my husband's photographs, or just my own observations, and I'll just go and jot something down, and I don't tend to sketch I just kind of tend to sort of go straight into an idea.
Yeah, now you talk about your husband there now. I know you can't come on the midweek brunch without giving us some song choices. And it seems you mentioned your husband there now.
Yeah.
What's this first song then, and who are you dedicating that to?
So the first song I want to play is James. The song is called Sound, and my husband John is a really huge James fan. And we've been to see them in concert and everything. My husband has just recently been diagnosed with a type of brain tumour called an acoustic neuroma, and it's a benign tumour, but he's going through a bit of a bumpy time now, waiting for that to be dealt with, and he's been in a lot of pain since about Christmas time, so hopefully they'll get him sorted quite soon. And this is for him. I love my husband very, very much. He's been a huge part of my life for the last 10 or 11 years, and I just love him so much, and I hope that he can get sorted out and be out of the pain that he's in at the moment, because it's been horrible for him.
So this one is for Minty's husband. Here's James with Sound. Thank you for sharing that one. I like that song. We like James. Now then, we started off when you were a little child and you didn't paint. You went to school, you did your O-levels. What happened after that?
So I did my art O-level amongst other O-levels, and I got a B, and I was quite often put on the wall because my paintings were good, and I was part of competitions, and I'd sometimes win a prize or something, and I loved that feeling of people looking at my painting. And so I wanted to do art, but my parents stopped me doing art A-level.
Oh, no.
I was kind of like hounded into doing some other things like maths and geography and economics.
Oh.
So I got quite good I was good at maths as well, you see. And I think a lot of maths comes into art when you're working out scaling up things and perspective. Maths is important, so they kind of go hand in hand. But I really wanted to do art, so I ran away from home. After I'd done very badly in my A-levels. I ran away from home and I went to art college. And I got a job as a graphic artist in a local printing firm, and everything was like letter set, and you had to like letter set all the lettering, and drawing the pictures by hand with drawing pens and stuff like that. So I was kind of doing all of that. Wow. And I did a foundation in art and design. And that was a year, and then I got into university. So I went off to university in Wolverhampton, and I did an art and design degree, and we did all sorts. We did pottery, printing, painting, sculpture.
You were in your element, were you?
Yeah, trying everything. It was great, and I really enjoyed my degree. And straight away after getting my degree, I got a job in London's West End, and I was a graphic artist in London's West End.
Wow.
For a few years as well, and that was really, really cool.
Were you painting sets? What were you doing?
No, it was all on the computer then. So everything moved. There was no painting to be done. It was just all on a computer, and you basically have to take a design brief and make it into something. Logos. We had Granada Studios just up the road, so it was like White Golden Square in Soho. So yeah, I got to meet some famous people too, and it was lovely. It was a really nice job. But then I had children, and that sort of stopped.
My kids got in the way.
No, it was just a change. I moved away from that kind of scene and concentrated on my children, and it was so much fun having kids, because all the kids would come round and we'd have art sessions in the kitchen, and the neighbours' kids would come round as well, because we were doing art sessions. It was lovely. It was a lovely time, but I kind of moved away from the work scene for quite some time. And I did face painting then as well. Right. For about 12 years I was a professional face painter, because I thought, what can I do to earn some money with the kids?
Children, yeah.
And I was a single mum for a lot of it, so when my kids were really young I became a single mum. They were 5 and 3. Hi kids, I know you're listening.
They were your models. Did you practice?
I did.
Today you're a butterfly, tomorrow you're Spider-Man, sit there and practice.
Yeah, I was like, right, I need to do a Pikachu. Right, you're both going to be Pikachu today. And I've got photos of them painted, and that provided me an income as well, so it was really good fun. And I was also a driving instructor for quite some time, about 4 years. Just because it was a single mum, you need to find something that you can do around the children.
Oh, my word. You've had a varied career, from London's West End to a driving instructor via face painting.
Yes, yeah, really bizarre. But then in 2012 or something like that, I discovered felting. I saw some felting somewhere on the internet. I researched it a bit because, of course, then we've got the internet by this time, so you could look at things. And I bought a book written by an artist called Moy Mackay. She's a Scottish felt artist, and she's absolutely amazing, and she's got her own gallery and everything. So I tried out the felting, and I was hooked straight away. And it sort of took me back to my childhood when I was doing fuzzy felt, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. You can make your own felt.
So we're going back to some music then. Your university days.
Yeah.
Going back to that, what did you chill out to? What did you listen to in your university days?
I discovered The Cure around about the time I was doing I was a graphic artist, and I was doing the foundation course and about to go to university, and I discovered The Cure, and from the Kiss Me, Kiss Me album, which is just the most fantastic album of all time. And this is one of the songs from there.
Well, welcome back. You're listening to Radio BGM's Midweek Brunch, and I've got Minty with me from Brockwood Cottage Studio. She's telling us all about your wonderful life from the West End via driving instructor to using your children as models for face painting, So this felt art. Tell us a little bit more about felt. For people who don't know what felt art is, tell us a little bit about the process.
Okay, so with felting, there's two different processes, dry felting and wet felting. And dry felting, a lot of people do, and that's with needles, and they're stabbing a bit of wool and make a little sculpture. Yep. But what I do is wet felting. So I lay out wool, which is from sheep's wool, merino wool. I lay it out, and that could take up to 2 weeks to do a piece about 1/2 metre size. And then I add warm water and soap. Now the warm water opens up all the scales on the wool fibres and allows them to knit together when you rub them. And then the soap helps you to rub, helps the fibres to slip about a bit. And then they knit together. And that can take an hour, sometimes up to 3 hours for a really large piece.
So you're just working and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing.
Yes. So it's quite a long process to make a piece. So usually I will make a piece within 2 or 3 weeks. And that's why they're so expensive, because I spend a lot of time making them. And also the wool is quite pricey too. Now the wool, it's called wool tops that I get, and it's been dyed. It's basically the sheep's fleece, which is taken from the sheep, and then the curly bits around the edge are trimmed off. Now they're called the curly locks, and they're also dyed and used in my paintings separately. But the main fleece is then carded after it's been washed and everything to wash the lanolin out. It's carded, and then it's dyed. Or the other way around. I don't get involved in that process, but
it turns up ready coloured for you. Yep.
And when it's carded, all these little bits drop off, and they're called the neps. And I also use those in my paintings. But the carded tops, then they come to me in these big long pieces, and I brush them to make them a bit knitted together, and then I place them in little tufts to make a painting.
I know you make it sound I just place these tabs. If you go online or if you go on Facebook and you see Minty's works of art, it's amazing that there's loads of animals that you do, and you've got the eyes and the stripes and the colours and it's not like me putting a blob of wool and going, there we are guys, that's a sheep, but it's detailed work, isn't it? So
it's really detailed.
You do the basic, and then you must have to add all the different colours on top.
So I'm currently doing a hair, and I'm posting pictures on my Facebook page about each day I'm doing a bit, and you'll see the hair come to life as I add the layers in, because eventually there'll be tiny little tufts of hair to make his hair. At the moment he's just got a brown base on him. And also I've got a YouTube channel at Brockwood Cottage Studio where I've done a full walkthrough of the whole from start to finish and mounting my work, so you'll be able to see the process if you want to follow that.
Because it is hard describing art on the radio, we can't see, but the pictures that you do have got a lot of depth in them. They look 3D, even though it's just made by wool. It's hard to describe that on the radio.
Well, the lovely thing about the wool is it goes kind of blurred. It kind of all moves around when you felt it, so you can't do something like a fine art painting because of the movement that you get. But so backgrounds become quite blurry, which is quite useful. And then the animals, they don't have to be a structured shape because it's just an animal. So nobody really cares that his ear's a little bit longer or whatever because it's an animal. So it kind of lends itself to that.
They're going to be all different, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're going to be all different. But it's fantastic. We definitely go on the Facebook page. Yeah, look at your YouTube channels because work of art are just amazing.
Thank you.
They are absolutely amazing. Now then, we've got another song. A Depeche Mode song. we were talking about this earlier, we're both huge fans of Depeche Mode, aren't we?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about Depeche Mode. Was that when you were painting your children? Bright yellow. Imagine your bathroom, that's all I can think of, with face-painted kids being minions or being Pokemon. Wow.
Yeah, it was very messy. Yeah, so this song, it's just because it's called Enjoy the Silence. I love Depeche Mode and they've always helped me enjoy the silence, just because when you're creating a piece of art, I've got a studio at home and I literally shut the door and it's lovely and quiet and you've got to be immersed in your art. So sometimes silence is great. You just immerse yourself in what it's going to be and you kind of just work on it. And sometimes this kind of music can help as well, just something that you like to, when you're felting, I'm bopping around then at that point. But, it's silent and then it's playing the music.
Yeah, and of course, it's Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
Now then, Minty, you've told us about your sort of artwork influences. Where'd you get the ideas from? Who do you like? Who have you got on your wall?
Well, I'm really, really into the artist Ed Org, and I've collected a lot of his limited edition prints. A hugely big fan of him ever since I was at uni, and I discovered Hobgoblin beer and the Goblin label.
Did he design that? Did he?
Yeah, so he was discovered by the Witchwood Brewery guy. He was out on his market stall selling his art one day, and this guy came up and said, "Would you mind doing a goblin for me for my label for my new brewery?" So that was the birth of Witchwood Brewery. And I've collected all of the pump clips from over the years of all of the different Witchwood Brewery beers, like Witch's Brew and all that, because of the artwork. And so I've got a huge Ed Org collection at home.
Wow.
I love his work.
It's not just the alcohol, it's actually the art.
Oh, yeah, I don't really drink much alcohol now, but when I was a student I did. But yes, anything like magical fantasy work. I read Lord of the Rings when I was 8, so I was really hugely influenced by fantasy and just animal art,
Wow, yes. Well, I can just see you with hobgoblins now when you're next to felting.
Yeah.
Ooh, little, from behind a little mushroom or behind a tree.
Yeah, I love the woodland art. And also I was influenced by the pre-Raphaelites, like Dante Gabriel Rossetti. And one of my favourite paintings, Hylas and the Nymphs by John William Waterhouse. If you don't know that, look it up. It's a beautiful painting. So anything that's out in the wilds, lakes, woodland, animals, that's kind of my scene.
That's your scene.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to look forward to seeing more of your paintings. Now then, that was your song choice as well, wasn't it? We Built This City, yes. Starship. Tell us about that one.
Oh, that's a song that I always put on in the car when I'm on my way to a market or a festival that I'm doing, and it gets me in the zone. And instead of singing along to We Built This City on Rock and Roll, I sing We Built This City on Flock and Roll. And I sing along. And it just gets me kind of pepped up for the day, because it's difficult to talk to people all day. It's quite exhausting, to be honest. And setting up your stall. Sometimes outside, a big gazebo has to be set up, and it's quite exhausting. So, yes. to get me in the zone.
It gets you all sort of, I'm going.
I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
Build this city.
build this city. Yeah, so as well as your artwork and Brookwood Cottage Studio, you're also involved with, of course, Llanelli Art Society. You are the committee secretary, you do the web, you do the social media, you're the whiz behind them.
That's right, yeah, the tech wizard.
Tell us a little bit about the Art Society.
Yeah, so, I moved to Llanelli in 2020, and obviously we were during the pandemic then. But when we came out of that, I was searching around to maybe connect with some other artists, and I found the Art Society online on their Facebook page, I think, and so I messaged and I joined, and that was in November 23, and so sort of started to get involved with that. And then last September they were calling out for, can we have some new, anybody wants to join the committee? So I joined as an ordinary member on the committee, and quite quickly I saw that they need to get more younger members in. Let's get some people who are, my kind of age. I'm
21.
I'm in my sort of mid-50s, and there were a lot of people that were sort of a lot older than that. And they were saying, how can we get new members to join? And I was like, well, you just need to get your internet presence a bit more punchy and a bit more visible. Make a go of the Instagram, the Facebook page. You need to freshen the website. And then it was just like, it just went from there. And somebody said, can you redo the website then, if you know how to do it? So I said yes. And so that was it. I've redone the website. It's going really well. We've had 40 new members. Got a new way of joining, just online. So they were sending out a lot of things through the post, and I was like, we can just cut out all the postage, we could just do it all by email and online, and they didn't know how to do that, so I sort of started doing that. The committee secretary at the time vacancy sort of came up, so I said, I could do that, and then I can be a bit more involved, and that's where I've got to now. I'm committee secretary, and
you have to be careful what you volunteer for, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's about enough now. Yeah.
But it is good, because when we had Trish on a couple of weeks ago, I went along to one of the talks, because it's open to the public as well.
That's right. Yeah, everyone can go.
Yeah, it was really, really good. David Herford, who we know here on Radio BGM.
Yeah. That was a fantastic talk.
He didn't tell me anything about that. I had to go to a talk to find out what our chair was. It was a really good talk. So everybody, keep your eye out, because there are some really interesting talks and events.
There are.
That people can go to, and you don't have to be a member.
No, you don't have to be a member. We have a social evening once a month. We have a social morning once a month as well. The morning one is at the Lethley House. That's next Monday. And then we have an evening one, which is on the first Monday of the month, which is at Selwyn Samuel Centre. For people that are working during the day, it gives them a chance to socialise as well. Sometimes we do sketching, and sometimes we have a talk. And we usually, if we know what we're going to be having, we'll advertise that. Yeah. Sometimes we don't know. Last minute.
Come along and check. But that's what I really liked. I go to the exhibition that you put on in the library every year, and there's always artists stewarding the exhibition.
That's right, yeah.
And it's fabulous, because they can talk to you about their paintings. And I love that.
It's brilliant, yeah. So
I'll exhibit my stick man next year. Yes. I'm not a good artist at all, but I love talking to artists.
Well, we're open to anyone who's interested in art. You don't have to be a professional artist. You don't even have to be an amateur. You could just be a hobbyist, and you appreciate art. You can come along. We have 2 exhibitions a year. Hopefully we're going to be having 3, but we also have workshops and demonstrations from local artists. Some of them are our members, some of them are from outside the Art Society, and that's a mixture as well, amateurs and professionals, and so it's just a really good way of getting involved in art. The workshops, you can just come and have a go at something you've never tried before, or you might be really good at that medium and want to just have a different experience in a different sort of subject matter. Like the other day I was doing acrylic painting flowers. Now I never painted flowers really, apart from when I was face painting. And I went along to a workshop with Ruth Jones, who's another she's the vice chair.
Yes.
She's very, very good.
Very clever.
It was such a lovely workshop, and I painted some flowers, and I thought, wow, I actually did rather well there. That's great.
Ruth has promised she can teach me to paint and draw. She said
yes, she can. Yeah.
I think this might be one challenge too much for her.
No.
But it's really good. The Art Society, you're very welcoming, and you're extremely welcoming, and it's open to anybody to come along.
It's very welcoming to everybody, at all ages, all abilities, and whatever you want to do with it.
And people can get in touch with you via the website, your Facebook page.
So we've got a lovely website. you can find out what's going on there. Everything is put on there. We've got art trips as well, and there's loads of stuff on there. So, and you can find out who we are as well, because there's a page with our photographs and our email addresses, so you can email the right person. The main email address for the Art Society comes to me, so I can then direct you to where you need to go within that.
And do people just search for Lethley Art Society and they will find you? Yeah,
it's llanelliartsociety.co.uk. The email address is llanelliartsociety@gmail.com.
Yeah,
we also have Instagram, So if you prefer to go on Instagram, you can search for it there.
If you're down with the cool kids, you can go on Instagram.
You can find out what's on.
Facebook, Instagram, website.
Yeah, there's loads of places to find out what's going on, and you don't have to join. You can just taste for a little bit and then join if you want to. If you join, you can get discounts on workshops.
Yes.
You get to go to the demos for free, which are usually £5 if you're a non-member. And also, if you join, you get to exhibit in our exhibitions as well.
I think I've done. Mine will be behind the post in the corner if I do.
We've got an exhibition on at Netley House as well. Every month they change. So at the moment we've got 3 artists.
Yes.
Phyllis Gully, Jean Bond and Julie Davis are exhibiting there at the moment. And that's within the cafe area.
And that's a wonderful space because it's at the end, isn't it? And they've got lighting on it as well.
It looks beautiful.
It does look really fabulous.
Yeah.
So grab a coffee in Llanelli House and go and have a look at all the beautiful art that's on display there.
Yeah.
Well, Minty, thank you so much for coming in and talking.
Thank you for
to
having
us.
me.
Gosh, I want to do felting.
You want to come along now?
I want to come along. Right? You've got to do a workshop, and I've got to come along just to see. I failed on oils and watercolours. I want to see if I can do some felting instead. Yes, so people can get hold of your work. It was Facebook, Instagram, website, YouTube. What was the addresses again?
Oh, my website for me is brockwoodcottagestudio.co.uk, and everything comes from there. So I've got an online store where you can buy my work. I go to markets and festivals, so I've got a list of where I will be next. This Saturday it's the Landy Dialogue show in Carmarthen Showground.
Yes.
The following weekend I'm at the Llandovery Sheep Festival in Llandovery.
That will be good.
With lots of sheep and other wool artists. And then on the 4th of October I'm at the West Wales Wool Show in Narberth.
Wow.
So I do travel around a bit, and I've also got a Redbubble store where I sell merchandise too.
Because it's not just paintings. You do little like gift things as well, don't you? It's not just
so it's tough to sell a painting. It takes a bit of time sometimes. So I sell lots of little things. I make little felted purses and bookmarks, just little knickknacks, so that when people come along and see my work, they might pick up something else. And to be honest, those smaller items fund the bigger things, so that they can buy my materials.
But they are like mini works of art. They are. Because I was looking at the little purses you had, and it's like holding a piece of your art in your hand.
Thank you.
They're really, really
no one
good.
else is doing those, so it's kind of like found a little gap in the market there.
and they are absolutely wonderful. So check out Minty's website, and you'll be enthralled like I am. I can't wait. Perhaps I'll have to come along to a workshop if you do one, and I'll post on the Radio BGM website what mine actually looks like, or maybe not.
Yeah, okay, lovely. Thank you so much.